Hi guys, today we're talking to Claire. She is a very experienced tutor off the platform, and she's just recently got onto pre-play with 1,500 classes done in the last year. We'll also be talking about her transition between regular teaching and teaching online. We'll also be talking about that summer dip. A lot of you guys have been experiencing less classes over June, July, August time. And then towards the end, we're talking about resources, English teaching resources on after class, and then a few whiteboard resources as well, and just generally teaching in general. Check it out.
So cool. I'm sorry.
Yeah, good.
Tell me a little bit about yourself and So this is the idea of this is to do introductions basically. So please tell me, Claire, how long have you been teaching on pre-play? What do you teach?
I've been teaching on Preply since the beginning of the pandemic. I teach English. I've been teaching English as a second language for quite a long time before that. I started in the mid-1990s. I lived in Malawi in the middle of Africa, and I was working at an international school, and we had a lot of kids from different backgrounds, so helping with the English there was cool. And then as later in life, I did a degree in teaching. At the same time, my kids were doing their degrees, so I'm sort of generation late, but I loved it. But I decided I wasn't going to go into classroom teaching. Where I live, the classes are quite big and quite stressful. And so I went into this private teaching of English. And then, so when the pandemic hit, I just switched it to online. The same stuff, really, slightly different materials, of course, but the same idea. So I've kept a few of my clients who used to live near me, many of whom decided to go back to China. They felt much safer from the virus in China, that there's less of it then now. And then others I've come through Preply or a couple of other platforms as well. But most of my students are from Preply, yeah, which has worked well for me, really well for that first year or so. Less well since the Northern Hemisphere summer holidays. Haven't picked up any new students since then. So kind of, it was the same for everybody, July, August, and then I kind of hoped September might get better, and it didn't really. But hey ho.
I've seen it this year. I've seen it this year. Like it's been a big, massive dip this year, and people have been really taking some time off, and then they're slow to start again. Because the last couple of years have been so stressful, because it's been 2 years of pandemic, so the first year everyone was panicking to get the extra time in, and then this year everyone's exhausted. I get the impression everyone's exhausted. So Colette, you've been
everyone's fed up, aren't they?
yeah, and then everyone's sick of online teaching. That's the problem, because they have to do it for school as well. I've got a few students in places like Singapore and Vietnam, and they've gone back into lockdown, and then the kids have gone back onto online classes, and then the parents are telling me my kid's been sitting in front of the computer for 6 hours and they can't handle any more screen time. So the parents are really conscious about how much the kids are using the computers. So then what we're doing right now is not the best thing for that. And of course, school is just starting in other parts of the country, so everyone's going back into real school, so they don't need so much online support. So there's been a big dip in it, and I've seen that all across the forums, and it's constantly talked about, for sure. I want to ask you, Claire, because you said you've been teaching for a long time before online.
I think so.
And
for the adults as well, actually. Yeah.
Okay, go on. The adults as well, yeah.
No, it's just adults as well. I had a new student the other day. I met her on a Facebook group. And she said, "Oh, can you come and teach me one-on-one personally?" And I said, "Oh, actually, I'm not in your location," which was a bit naughty of me, because I'm on a location Facebook group. But hey ho. I said, "Would you consider online?" And she said, "Yeah, I think we're going to get on well." But she just has had enough of all her daily meetings for work are online, and to do something for herself, she was hoping for a personal face-to-face interaction. That was all. I think it's tough for the adults as well. Sorry, what were you saying about teaching for a little while?
I agree. No, I'd say because you've been teaching for a long time before the online thing, I want to know about the transition and about your transition, how you found it between traditional teaching or face-to-face teaching or teaching in an institute or as local schools, and then moving that to the online environment, because obviously there's a lot of transition between technology and adopting new techniques and the new technology. I want to hear about your side of that, your point of view on that, and your story on it, because there's lots of people in your situation trying to go from one from one situation to the other situation.
Oh, thank you. Yes, for me, yeah, it was a little bit daunting. It was quite interesting. I had already started thinking about it before the pandemic, not related to the pandemic at all, related to the fact that my youngest was soon to finish school, and having done a long time of school term times and school runs, I was looking for a bit of a change, and also the possibility of traveling and working. So I thought I'd start looking into online. So I went on a day course, okay, face to face with about a dozen people and somebody teaching us about it. And that individual happened to be teaching using verbling a lot.
You went on a day course about how to do online teaching.
I went on a day course how to do online teaching, which for me was good because, yeah, I'm a bit older. The technology was a bit daunting, the idea of it. So for me to do this course was good, and I followed it with a bit more of online coursework with the same person. Gave me some confidence to get going. Yeah, they make the first video. Oh my God, the stress, you know, and they do it 50 times to get the confidence. Just recording myself.
How long did it take you? How long did it take? Sorry to interrupt. How long did it take you to get comfortable working on that online environment? So going from, like I said, how long did it take?
Once I got set up, it was good. My daughter was already a Preply teacher, so she said, "Oh, try this platform." That was good. And she also teaches English. And I had used lesson materials called After Class for many years, face to face. And at that time, at the beginning of the pandemic, Preply was providing material for free. Now, this was a great bonus for me because I knew it already. They hadn't really developed their own, or they were in the process of developing their own English teaching materials. So this was great for me because it was material I already knew and I could transfer it onto the online environment. So once I got approved and made that sort of deep breath step to get going, then I was fine. I picked up clients, okay, you know, steady increase in clients. That was really good. Put my price up bit by bit to something I was more comfortable with because I started a bit cheaper, but I didn't go too cheap. I started at $14. And it worked well for me. Yeah, at the beginning of the pandemic, as people were getting into online teaching and online learning, I took off with it. Then Preply pulled back from providing that material that I liked, but I knew that was coming.
What do you mean? I don't.
It's expensive.
You have to pay for it. Yeah. What? You have to what?
Well, it's a teaching platform that provides excellent quality materials.
Yes.
And yes, you pay for it.
But which one? Which one is it? What Preplay are you talking about?
After Class.
After Class, yes.
It's called After Class.
The After Class was free. And
I know you're. It was no, it was never free. It was paid for by Preply. They covered the cost.
What? When? What? I didn't know about that. What? They gave you like a subscription?
Yeah, I think.
Oh, that's awesome. That was awesome.
They gave me a subscription. That was really awesome. I think I was possibly the last person because when my daughter joined in 2017 or so, they offered it to her. Yeah. When I joined in 2020, I had to request it. And when I mentioned it in a webinar, they shut me down so quickly, like they didn't want people asking about it. So fair enough. You know, I clicked that this was coming to an end. But for those first 6 months, as I got established, it was great. And then I just built in, $1 a lesson goes to After Class. And but as long as I could build that into my pricing, I'm quite happy with it. You know,
how much does it cost?
Not a problem.
Now,
initially, if you just take 2 students, it's $40 a year per student. I think now I'm paying $720 for 20 students. So
a year.
Yeah, it's quite a lot of money.
A year.
$720 a year.
Okay, because I pay for other subscription models because you're talking about as per student, right? And I buy IXL. I use IXL for mathematics, and it also has an English section,
Sure.
which I don't use. I just bought it together with it, and I buy a pack of 50 students for about the same price, for about $650 for a whole year. It ends up being like $10 a month per student or something like this, or even less. I think it comes out.
Yeah.
It's definitely worth it.
I've just done the sums. It's $3. It's $3 a month per student.
Yeah, so fine.
If they sign up for lessons.
Yeah.
So that's fine. Yeah, as I say, I can justify that. Of course, people who want everything free scream it's too expensive, it's too expensive. But for me, it's worth it because it gives me prepared lessons and easy to mark homework, and I'm not spending ages lesson prepping, which is not my preference. So yeah, I like it. Yeah, when I was doing face-to-face, I used to use physical books as well. Obviously, physical books are a little bit more tricky online. Not impossible. I have some kids who write in books. I like children writing. I don't know if you feel it's the same for maths, but for English, I like children to actually physically write.
We do writing on the whiteboard live, so they write it on their screen.
Yeah.
They write it using a mouse. But for mathematics, there's less writing involved. I mean, because we're just doing numbers and stuff. It tends to be writing in the answers, 2 + 2, and you just write down the 4.
Yes.
So
for English, I quite like them actually writing, especially the Chinese kids, because it's the different calligraphy, And so the parents buy the physical book, and then I have it as a PDF on the computer, and I can fill it in as a PDF, and they are physically writing. And then there's a homework book.
Can you tell me about your equipment and how your equipment developed? Like, what did you start with, and what do you have now, and what's the best? I'm sorry, one more question. One more question, Claire. Is how many classes have you done on pre-play?
Oh, I'll have to double check. So I can
over
1,000. Over 1,000.
Yeah.
I'll just look at my statistics. So I started with a laptop. It broke one day. I had to get another one. Okay, that's always a bit stressful when that sort of thing happens. Yeah, get a better one. So now the other things I have done 1,170 hours of teaching.
Congratulations.
Okay.
You done obviously you got a lot more before
18 months or so.
Yeah,
sure. But on the Prep platform. So now I've gone to the Logitech C920. I started with a slightly more basic one, and it died on me. So I bought the slightly better Logitech camera that I have on a little tripod, rather than on the laptop itself, and use that microphone. And then I use these little earphones, Joy Room earphones, they're called. I just have these for my. They say they have a microphone on them, but that microphone isn't very good. So I use that for my listening. And then I have 2 screens. I have a monitor as a second screen. So I've got the student on one screen and the teaching material on the other screen.
I agree.
And yeah, a wireless mouse. And that combination so far is working for me.
So how do you present the class materials in class? Do you use share screen, or do you have a camera that looks down on your desk, like a mounted camera? I need to get one of those when I'm doing construction work, like doing like triangles and things with actual pencil and paper. I want to get one, like I have this microphone that's on a tripod thing. I want to have one of those that I can hang over my desk, and I can have well lit environment, because I got my desk all set up with lights and stuff. So I like to have a well lit environment where I can actually work on it. And if you're doing writing, I would have thought that'd be very, very useful to actually model how things are written, or I don't know. You talk about handwriting.
Okay, no, I don't do handwriting as such. So if it's off to class, both the tutor and the student log in independently, and then you see the material on there. If I'm working with children who are physically writing in a book, I have it on a PDF on my page that I can write on, and I screen share, and then they see the page.
And how do you write on it? What do you write on it with?
I type.
Okay.
I type onto a PDF.
Yeah, because I do handwritten stuff, because I don't want to type all day long. So I use a pad.
Excellent.
Which is so nice, because
you're actually using a whiteboard. So is that connected to your computer, or is it just like a kid's whiteboard? No, it looks a bit posher than that. Yeah, it's connected.
This is it's USB, right? I'll show you what it is. I'll show you how it works. It's a drawing tablet for artists. So it has incredible amounts of pressure sensitivity and stuff, but I don't use any of that. I got a bigger one because I'm using it all day long. I'm really worried about my health, or I try to keep a check of it. I'm not worried about it because I look after it. But I got a smaller one around here somewhere. I think I gave it to my dad because I'm really trying to get my dad into teaching. So I'm asking all these questions about how do you transfer, how do you get everything started. So I use it as, I think I can show you. So I can I write it like this. It just writes on the screen.
Yeah.
And it's exactly like a mouse, right? So if I share a screen, I'll show you the kind of, I did this for the last one. I'll just drag a PDF from one of the downloads we just made, we just did, my last class, for example. Like a bit of mathematics. You just drag it on, it will load up the worksheets. The really nice thing is it's really big and the students log in at the same time. And I do this with teaching English as well. And then I lock it down to the background and now I can write on it. So using the pencil.
Yeah, excellent. Oh, that's very clever. Yeah.
It's just like writing in real life. It's a little bit slower, a little bit laggy. But for mathematics, it's absolutely fine. And it's quicker to write it like this than it is to type it. And I'm just thinking, if you're teaching English, then if you're concerned about actual writing, and the good thing is it makes a document they can have after class. They can access it anytime they like, and they can download it, save it as a PDF or as an image. A PDF works really well, but they can just access it anytime from their computer.
That's very cool.
And I just said, like I said, I started with this very small kind of. Stop share. We started with a small drawing tablet like this. It was a small one, and they just got bigger and bigger because it allows me to draw more accurately. I can draw tiny little drawings on the screen, and it looks really cool. It's also a touchpad one, but I never used it. That's really cool. Okay, thanks for telling me a bit about how you got started, about the equipment you're using. Is there anything else? Cool. I really want to know about the future, about what you want to do in the future and what your plans are.
This worked so well for that first year, 15 months. I thought, oh, this will be great forever. But I think this summer season has just shown me that no, things don't go on forever, do they? No. So yeah, I'm looking at getting into the niche teaching and how to market myself personally. I like the idea of having a platform for the calendar when it works and the money payments and not being stressed about the money. I really like that. But I wrote to Preply and said, if I advertise elsewhere and promote myself, can you guarantee I won't get this subscription thing for people? And they said no. So the last time I've picked up somebody privately, I put them through Verbaling instead.
Okay,
because
right. So someone else asked me.
I don't want this subscription to
I don't know anything about a subscription. I don't get them. I get like one. I had one subscription guy, and
I haven't yet, but I just don't want it. They're tied to set days and set times and set number of lessons per month, and my students don't tend to work like that.
I think that's a money thing. I think it makes it cheaper to do it that way because so you're talking about a platform, or you're talking about the calendar. So this is something that I've been working on for a while to make. I have my own website, which is my personal website, because Preply do not have a problem if you work on other websites. So I had my own website before, and I do get a lot of contacts of those students outside the platform. So I send them to my own personal. It's just a landing page. It's just my face, and then they're some contact details. But then I was talking to somebody, and they're trying to build like another website, and I realized in one day, I made it in one day. I made an add-on to my website, which is a calendar and a payment system. So I was trying to really identify, what does Preply actually do for us? What does it really do? And everybody says calendar because it organizes your life. Great, fantastic. And then of course they act as an intermediary for this payment system, right? So you don't pay me directly, you pay this third party, and then if everybody says everything's okay, then the money transfers, and that's okay. So it works as like an intermediary, like a safety system for the clients, right? For the money to go between us. And then the next thing it does is advertisement. It gets lots and lots of advertisement, gets loads of students for us, right? So I thought I'd break it down and do one thing at a time. one thing at a time. So the first thing would be, I just work on the calendar. Can I make a calendar that actually works? Or can I make a payment system that you can log onto my website and pay me? Because my organization right now is just a bunch of whiteboards with all my external students written down on it. And that's a real pain. So let me show you. So
I'm really sorry, but I've got a class at half, so push off. So I hope the others join in a bit.
Okay. Thank you very much, Claire.
Sorry.
Thanks for coming. Good luck. Have a nice day. I'll see you next time.
I've got 2 minutes. I've got 2 minutes. So
thanks for
cool.
coming.
Thanks a lot, David. Really great. Cheers. Bye.
Great. And if you enjoyed that, you should check out some of the other interviews on the channel. We've got some really good content there. There's also some good how-to videos. If you have any comments or suggestions, leave them down below and we'll get back to you soon. Thanks very much. Have a nice day.